Hey everybody, it's Kent from Spartan Media Reviews, here to talk about Show by Rock. Now, is this show worth your time? Let's find out. Our beginning episode of Show by Rock introduces us to our lead female protagonist named Cian. Cian has a tremendous passion for music and wants to join her school's music club, however she is incredibly shy. One day after failing to prove her courage wrong, Cian returns home to play an application on her smartphone known as Strawberry Heart. The story of Show by Rock then takes an interesting turn in which Cian is pulled into her smartphone to a land known as Midi City, in which music is the core component to everyone's lives. Enter our conflict in which giant shadow monsters try to take control of band's musical purity in order to turn them into monsters as well. We then find out that Cian was transported here for a reason, and that is to destroy the shadow monsters for good with her guitar named Strawberry Heart, which has a mind of its own, to keep Midi City a musical paradise. At the end of the first episode, Cian then joins a band known as Plasmagica, and thus continues our story. Personally, I found the musical subplot of the story to be more entertaining compared to the overarching conflicts between Cian and the shadow monsters. The conflicts seemed to be there, when all I wanted out of the story was Cian and Plasmagica trying to become the best band in Midi City. Don't get me wrong, the story isn't bad. I would call the story about average. Show by Rock has an interesting cast, focusing primarily on two bands in the music studio that owns them. We have the lead band Plasmagica, consisting of all females including Cian, Choo Choo, Rettery, and Moa. By the way, I forgot to mention that all the characters in Show by Rock are animals/human hybrids or some type of inanimate object. The other band, consisting of all males, is Shingan Crimsons. Considering they are side characters, they receive plenty of screen time, and some episodes are primarily dedicated towards them. The other bands and side characters were enjoyable, but I wouldn't say they were fleshed out. They were there to bring more music to the show. Overall, the characters of Show by Rock were fun and enjoyable to watch, but I would say that the character development was lacking. The animation for Show by Rock is interesting. CGI in anime is hit or miss for many, as the majority of CGI in anime is pretty terrible. I'm looking at you, Dragon from Fate Stay Night. However, Show by Rock does something interesting, separating the 2D animation and 3D CGI to individual scenes. Normal slice-of-life activities in the show are done in 2D style and look beautiful. Considering the show was done by Studio Bones, I'm not surprised that it looked this good. The 3D CGI was primarily used for concert scenes and the battle between the shadow monsters. This is one of the few times that I truly loved CGI in an anime. Bones made this look great, even though I know a lot of people may disagree on this aspect. Bones also did something smart with their CGI scenes by not putting mouths on their characters. Now you're probably wondering, Kent, why exactly do you think not putting mouths on characters is a good thing? Well, one, it improves budgeting and gives more money to the 2D animation, and two, usually CGI mouths are harder to lip sync, which would create more problems for the show. Animation-wise, Show by Rock looked really good and to me was one of the better animated series this season. Studio Bones did not disappoint in this aspect. This is where Show by Rock has to shine. If the music stinks in a music-based show, then there really is no point in watching it, even if the animation is great. I know that musical taste is subjective, so this part of the show could be hit or miss. Personally, I like the soundtrack. Background music worked with the everyday lives of our characters, and the concert songs done by the bands were also euphonious. There is both a sub and broadcast dub of the show, but at the time of this review, the dub is not finished. I personally watched the original and the voice actors played their roles very well. Each voice actor was able to play their particular trope, and I personally enjoyed listening to the banter between the members of Shingan Crimsons the most. The opening for Show by Rock is pretty generic. It worked with what the show was trying to portray, but it didn't stand out to the other openings from this season. The ending song I thought was better comparative to the opening. It introduced each character, giving them a separate verse and or instrumental role to help flesh out the band even more. Personally, I enjoyed the soundtrack and voice acting to Show by Rock, and I would listen to some of the tracks again. Considering Show by Rock is one of two music-based shows that I watched this season, with the other being Sound Euphonium or Hibike Euphonium, would I recommend this show to you? If you are a fan of music-based anime, then I would give this a watch. Otherwise, I wouldn't give this show a recommendation. Show by Rock is very enjoyable and fun to listen to, but that's about it. I wish they focused on building up the band more compared to the overarching conflicts between Cian and the shadow monsters. The battle between good and evil is pretty standard, and I would call this story in that aspect below average. The characters were fun, but they weren't flushed out in my opinion. Animation looked crisp in both 2D and 3D, and the soundtrack was enjoyable to listen to, with some tracks having great replay value. value. Overall, if you are looking for a music-styled anime, I personally would recommend either K-On! Or Sound Euphonium before Show by Rock. If you are still interested in Show by Rock, you can watch the series over on Funimation's website in both sub and soon-to-be dub, but some episodes are still behind their subscriber paywall. Now, what are your thoughts on Show by Rock? Comment below, and if you enjoyed this review, hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. You can also subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. I would really appreciate that as well. Follow me on Twitter and Hummingbird to keep up to date with the current things that I am doing. And with all that said, I will catch you guys in my next review. Thank you for watching.